everyone! Can you hear me and see me? Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited with all 83 of you. What the heck? I'm so excited to be doing the VCAA 2020 English exam with you. You can see that it's on screen. It took me ages to set this up, but I'm glad that we're finally here, and I'm glad that all of you are here with me as well. I'm just going to do some housekeeping with you first so that you know what's happening over this next hour or so, and then we're going to go straight into it. So I have done these analyzing argument pieces before on YouTube, but this is the first time that I'm doing one live. I wanted to do one live with you guys because I wanted to interact with you, for you to be able to ask me questions if you wanted to, and just for you to kind of see how my brain works in a live setting. Because when it comes to analyzing, and I've got an edited version for you, you don't kind of see me thinking through and understanding what's happening in the article itself. So I think that would be really handy for you, because sometimes, you can see somebody's analysis of something, but if you don't quite understand how they arrived to that analysis, then it's not that helpful for you either. It's like reading an essay that's already been done by an A+ student, and you go, yeah, okay, I kind of get that, but how did they get there? How did they find that language technique to begin with? How did they find that argument? So that's what I want to work with you guys today. I'm going to be looking over here because that's where I've loaded your comments. And yes, thank you. I have just recently purchased an Udi, and guys, legit, I don't understand why I didn't get one earlier, okay? They've got a Mother's Day promotion right now, $25 off everything. Just go and get one. I'm literally just wearing a t-shirt under this, and I get so cold in the winter, but this is really keeping me warm. So yeah. Hello to everyone who's here on the live stream. Thank you so much for joining me. Hello to Mark, to Brayden, to Katie, to Kailesh. I'm so sorry when I butcher names. I'm doing my best. Christy, to Goku, to Kathy, to AJ. Really glad you guys are here. And oh my gosh, we've almost got 100 of you here. So I'm going to be looking at the comment section, and I'll be interacting with you guys. Just letting you know, I've activated the Superchat function. So what that basically means is, because when people comment, generally for the person who's live streaming, comments can go quite quickly, and half the time I'm going to be looking down at this. So if you wanted me to make sure that I notice your comment, and you really want me to give you feedback on your specific analysis, you can literally write down, how you would analyze a particular language technique in a sentence. I will go and analyze and give you feedback for that sentence. So it's kind of like a group tutoring session, a mega tutoring session in a way. Super chats are pretty much like donations. So if you wanted to, send me some love for doing what I do, and supporting me in that sense, then that is available for you. Where is the super chat function? It's basically just underneath where you type your messages. It's like a big S with a $sign. So yeah, that's that. A couple more housekeeping things. What else do I have to tell you? Yes, I will be uploading this live stream to my YouTube channel afterwards. So if you need to leave halfway, or if you can only join a little bit later on, which you wouldn't be looking at this anyway at this point in time, that's absolutely fine. It won't go up straight away. YouTube needs to buffer and do things in the back end, but it will come up, within 24 hours. So that's available there for you as well. So before we get into it, I want to make sure that you're aware that in the description box of this live stream, you can download the VCAA 2020 English Past Exam, which is what we're going through today and what you see on the screen right now. It's an awesome idea if you've already read it before. Even if you've done it before, I'm confident I'll be able to give you some new interesting perspectives and to pick out some new language techniques for you guys. So go ahead and make sure you download that, print it out. I think printing things out is usually a better option than, to try to annotate online, unless you've got like an iPad or equivalent. It is absolutely free. The link is down there for you so you can access that. It is the last few pages of the exam, just an FYI. So page 11, which you can see here. Oh no. Bloop. There we go. Yeah, it works. Okay. And yeah, just one more thing is I'm actually live streaming this on TikTok as well. So if you are not aware, I'm also on TikTok, loving it, loving hearing from you guys and talking to you guys through TikTok. So sometimes I might look down and say, hey, and yeah, I'm super awesome and comfy right now. Did I just say that I'm awesome? Okay. Let's just get into it. I don't think I have any other housekeeping pointers, except that throughout this live stream, I'm going to direct you to where you can actually go and get the A+ completed essay I've got for this article. So while we're going to be analyzing this together now, I think it's even more handy for you to be able to see an A+ completed version of everything that we've talked about, right? Like you can take it from the very beginning, the analysis, and then the annotation, and then you can finally see the written up version. And I think being able to take you through that entire process from start to finish is going to be so wholesome, so fabulous. Okay. Let's get your pens going and let's just get into it, okay? And no worry guys, I'm really happy to do live streams. They're way easier than filming and getting editing and all that stuff. All right, so I'm gonna be looking down at my iPad. Let's start off. So basically, whenever you look at section C, which is analyzing argument, also called language analysis, I'm going to interchange them. Don't worry so much about the actual phrase itself. We're all doing analyzing some analysis right here. Whenever you go into your SAC or your exam, you really need to ensure that you read this background information. I know it's like super obvious. Oh, why is this not going? Okay, got it. Sorry, I don't use the iPad often for this kind of stuff, so you might just see me finicking around a little bit until I get used to this stuff. But yeah, so basically, I think background information is there for a reason. Do not skip over it. They didn't just give you an entire extra page just for the sake of it. Usually the background information is a really great place for you to, one, just understand conceptually what is going on in this article. If we didn't have this background and therefore context to the article, there's a chance that you might accidentally come up with the wrong contention. You might misinterpret the arguments into something else. The background information is really just there for backup. It's a great place for you to ensure that what you're understanding from the article is actually correct, because usually the background information is filled with facts, and these facts will help shape your understanding of the article. So, I'll try not to get distracted by your comments, but Dante just said that I literally carry you in English. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. And I'm also at home right now in my office. Okay, so let's read together. The Shire of Byways in regional Victoria depends on both farmers and tourists for its prosperity. The local community is concerned about the increased recreational use of drones by many of the tourists visiting the area. The following is the transcript of a speech. Ah, interesting. Transcript of a speech, I think, is something that makes me go already, yep, I need to make sure I note this, because as soon as I recognize that it's a speech, it means that, oh man, okay. It means that my audience, I don't call them readers, I call them listeners. Simple things, small things will help differentiate you from other students. Someone else might not pick up that this is a speech and they'll just say readers the entire time. And no, you're not really going to get marks deducted for it, but there's an element of finesse, I suppose, if you kind of just notice that small nuance and you're able to present that in your essay. And I think it makes the examiner, the assessor, more confident that you know what you're doing. Okay, moving on. By young farmer Warwick Bandle at a public meeting, interesting public meeting, called by the Byways Shire Council to discuss the community's concerns. Interesting. It's interesting because I'm already getting this community vibe from this background information. The fact that it's regional Victoria, the fact that it's actually a very specific council, the fact that he's at a public meeting, people have taken their time out of their day to go to the council meeting. Who goes to the council meeting, right? People who care. So this is just something that I'm kind of noting for myself as I go into my analysis, because then I'll be able to kind of develop my analysis in a particular way. Bandle provided 2 images to be projected on a screen to accompany his speech. Okay, cool. All this does is tell me that I just need to be wary that there are 2 images and that I, as a student, need to talk about them. Do you guys have any questions about the background information? I think sometimes things lag, so I'm just gonna wait a little bit and then we'll move on if nobody has any questions. I'm also looking at my TikTok comments. Luke Nguyen, thank you so much. He says, you helped me so much for VC English. My pleasure. Tan, oh, you're the guy who requested, or gal who requested that I do the People Say series. So thank you. And yes, I love this Udi. Guys, I actually bought 2 Udis after I purchased this one. I'm going to be living in these all winter. You're gonna see me in them. Okay, it seems like everyone is happy with the background information. So let's move on. We also have over 100 people live, joining us now. Thank you so much, guys. This is freaking awesome. Every time I do a live stream, I always say to myself, I need to do more live streams. But the biggest barrier is the fact that it's just hard to set up. But it's no excuse. Okay. Yay, Yandy's wearing an Udi as well. Okay, so let's move into page 1. Quick water break. Okay, so he says, good morning, everyone. Already indicative of a speech. I'm just gonna write that down. Remember that it's a speech. Drones and inexperienced users are proving to be a costly problem for us farmers. Drones are not toys. What happens when a drone flies out of range? Okay. What happens when the battery runs out? A drone being flown out of control or crashing out of the sky can be lethal. Wow. Okay, this is what I think when I read an article. I genuinely think about my own personal response. I mean, I am actually, the audience of this article. No, I'm not there at the council listening to him live, but I'm still a person who's absorbing what he's saying. And I trust my instinct and my gut feeling, and that kind of leads me to develop my own unique interpretations. So the reason why I said wow is because he uses the word lethal. It's just so, to me, it's a little bit of an exaggeration. I mean, sure, I'm sure drones have killed people before, shouldn't be laughing about it. But I guess it's like I'm serious about this. We're not joking around, and he's making it seem like, this is a serious problem and that we need to address it seriously. So there's my thinking process kind of displayed out there for you. So in that sense, I guess we could talk a little bit about tone as well. I'd actually love to get your opinion. Just based on these first few sentences, what tone do you think he's using? Throw them at me. Just waiting for you guys to... Yeah, nice. Okay. So, King Titan says serious. Brayden says alarmist. Ooh, I was going to write Brayden. I love it. Aggressive, interesting. Concerning, good. Urgent, shocking. Yeah, nice. I like all these. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. When it comes to English, it's a matter of your own interpretation. And as long as you can back it up, then you've got yourself straight. I wanted to let you know in the description box, you can go and find my 195 tones PDF, which you can download. You can use that whenever you analyze an article. You've just got a bunch of tones there for you, just kind of listed for you to go through and use so that you never run out of tones. But I love these. So he's already set this tone for the remainder of the article. So I'm interested in what he's going to say next. Otherwise, I think the fact that he's serious, alarmist, it's reaffirmed by what he's saying. He says drones are not toys. Okay, this is not a game. We're not playing around. We're not fooling around. Okay, and I suppose that's important for him to establish because drones are kind of seen as this toy. They are seen as toys, at least for me anyway. When drones first came out, it was kind of like a toy airplane that you kind of, drive around with your remote control. So I think he's dispelling that idea or that conception or perception of drones immediately, so that we can kind of be on board with whatever he's saying next. Okay. Otherwise, I just wanted to point out, this is pretty obvious, but rhetorical questions. Rhetorical questions. I think there's not necessarily much I would say at this point in time with rhetorical questions, and that's because of my specificity and simplicity rule. So if you don't know much about that, I haven't talked much about it on my YouTube channel, but it's a strategy that I developed for myself in Year 12 when I couldn't figure out why I wasn't getting full marks in English. And yeah, okay, I was a nerd, I was already getting like 17, 18s out of 20. But the high achiever in me was kind of like, why am I not getting 19 out of 20? Why am I not getting 20 out of 20? Why am I losing these 1 or 2 marks? And I realized later on that it's because I wasn't being specific enough with my analysis. So when it comes to some of the comments you guys have written, so I think Zubair, you wrote down emotive language. If you're one of my students, you know that you don't use emotive language. Emotive language is way too broad. It's way too general to really mean anything. Instead of saying emotive language, why don't you say exactly what emotion they're appealing to? You're then replacing that sort of general vagueness of whatever emotive language means and replacing it with something very specific. And therefore, it's going to be more meaningful for you to write about, but also for your assessor to understand what you're going on about. So, I'm actually going to show you now. So this is actually my, give me one sec. So in case you don't know, I'm sure you guys all know, I have study guides. It's called Lisa's Study Guides. But in how to write a killer language analysis, I actually go through this golden rule of simplicity and specificity. This is what helped me get an A+ in my analyzing argument and in my end of year exam. So if you're interested, then I'd highly recommend that you go and check out this study guide. It's only $25, but it's a world of value, I promise you. Okay, let's keep going. We're still only on the introduction, which is crazy. There's just so much to say when it comes to this stuff. You can imagine like me sitting down with somebody for 1 hour. Like there's just so much to go through. So just imagine the damage that can be done by a falling drone. Imagine then these drone users realizing that they've lost their drone, searching, crashing through crops, leaving gates open, letting livestock out. Finally, when they don't find the drone, it's just left to rust away in the field until harvest time, when it's swept up, damaging the harvester. Cool. So, I guess there's this, I don't know. Okay. Just want to make sure you guys understand. This idea of imagine. He's kind of building upon that alarmist attitude, which I'll pull from what you guys are saying. And by asking us to imagine kind of like the worst case scenario, it's making us feel more and more concerned, right? Just by reading this, I go, ew, I don't want these drone users to be losing their drones in my farm space, in my land. And so I think this is one other point for you to think about is, yes, I was talking about before about how I'm like part of the audience too, right? But the next step from that in a more advanced way is to think about who is he talking to. So if we go back to the prior page, he's at a public meeting. Ooh, is this how I do it? No. Yeah. He's at a public meeting to address the community's concerns. Both farmers, depends on both farmers and tourists for prosperity. The local community is concerned. Okay, local community. So you could say that part of the audience would be farmers, people who care about their livestock, people who care about invasion of privacy and people stepping on their property. So remember that as you analyze, because it's going to make your analysis way more specific. And bonus tip, assessors, teachers, examiners, they love it when you can be specific with who the audience is. It shows that you're capable, you know, you get it. Okay. Okay. So even just in this first introduction, we've managed to talk about quite a bit, I'd say. I'm going to just take a quick break. Please let me know in the comment section if you guys have any questions. And I'm just going to wait a little bit. I'm also just going to write a quick note to my TikTok people so they know I'm actually live streaming on YouTube right now. Okay. How do I stick this up? I don't know if I can. Okay. Let's look at your questions. I'd say my target audience are probably farmers. I say probably just because I want to keep reading to understand exactly who he's talking about. These are just my assumptions just from reading the first part of the article. In terms of how you can incorporate tone into a body paragraph, how do I answer this question? I mean, you can do it as simple as actually just talking about the tone, or you can integrate it with another language technique. So you remember how just before we were talking about how that rhetorical question and how the repetitive use of imagine kind of builds upon that sense of concern in the audience. So you could link that back to his tone and say, you know, by building up this concern, he's using his serious tone in order to persuade the audience to, etc., etc. So yeah. Okay. Let's move on to paragraph 2. Oh, actually, before paragraph 2, let's talk about the photograph. So we've talked about how with the photograph, you absolutely need to talk about it. Everyone knows that by now. But let's actually go through it. So we've got this photograph of this girl who kind of seems to be a bit of a like dark shadow. And because she is a dark shadow, I'd say that it's like she is an anonymous person. So what this gives me the sense is that this could be anyone. And by making the person anonymous and kind of like a blank face, one, it's easier for us to hate on them, right? Because it kind of takes the humanity away if you don't know who it is. They're just drone invaders. They're people who don't respect our land. So that's one point that I talk about. Then you've got that really focused point of view of the drone itself. So yeah, that makes sense because the drone is the topic of this conversation, right? So it's the focal point, you could say. And it reconfirms or reaffirms that idea of people, of it just crashing out of the sky or crashing through crops or left to rust away. So by having that photograph, remember, imagine that we're in the council meeting, right? So he's put this image up for us and he's saying this. I think about it as, how does having the photograph there on, you know, a presenter, let's just say, with him talking about it, how does that change how I respond? I think about how I feel, what I think, which is something that we talked about in one of my previous videos called How to Write a Language Analysis, I think. We talk about the T rule. So, oh no, I lost my train of thought. I looked at your comments and then I lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. So in my opinion, when I have that photograph with me, like right there in front of me, it definitely makes me more angry, I would say. It's more confronting because it's in your face, and it definitely like riles me up more. So you could include that in your analysis as well. Like, it's the way that he has structured his argument, like in this sense, like structured where he positions his photograph, which is like basically as right after he says his introduction or during. It makes me feel more inclined to agree with him in that sense. Whereas if it was just him saying it, then I'd actually have to just take his word for it. But here there's proof. People are doing this. So yeah, I hope that helps. Okay. Oh, you guys are doing great. Asking lots of questions. Ooh, Bunch of Drones says she's dressed for the city, an outsider, not part of the community. I love it. Well done. She's an outsider. There we go. She's an outsider. Unity. I'm sorry that my handwriting's so bad. Ooh, Ruby says the camera angle gives the illusion that she's dominant. Interesting. And so I think to extrapolate kind of what you're saying, that dominance, like as somebody who's part of the local community, I don't want that. Like, I don't want somebody else to be dominating over my crib, my place, right? So it's kind of making me really deterred and making me want to steer clear and want these people to steer clear of my space. Love it. Belinda says the lack of crops suggests that drones have destroyed the normal way of farming. Yeah, absolutely. So not only are there is there rubbish in their plot of land, but if anything, it's added to the destruction. You guys are so smart. Yes. Bunch of drones. I love that. Antonio dominant, so therefore she's a threat. Lisa says, and welcome, don't worry if you're late. She believes that the black and white makes it gloomy and sad. 100%. So sometimes, this is actually a really good point. Like, when I think sometimes, you can get so absorbed in the analysis that you only think about what's there in front of you. But a great way to kind of create contrast and to understand what's there when it's so obvious is by considering what things would be like if it were otherwise. Sorry, that's a really convoluted sentence. Basically what I'm saying is, think about, why is it black and white? Why is it not in color? If it was in color, how would that change your perception of what's happening here? So just kind of thinking about what's not there helps you understand what is there. There we go. That was a much simpler question, way of saying it, huh? So yeah, absolutely. Black and white photograph. Sad and gloomy. Well Well done, guys. Yeah, you can talk about how it's good and evil, good versus evil in that sense. And Elias says, damn, all English geniuses decide to meet together. Hey-oh, I agree. Okay, you guys are doing great, by the way. If you like this type of video and you'd like me to do more, please let me know. And also let me know how else you would like me to analyze things. Like, are there different ways you want to see me do things? I actually don't think we'll have the chance to like analyze the entire thing together. Just because I've got a dinner I need to go to. But I'd love to come back on again and finish this with the rest of you guys, if that's something you'd like me to do. Okay, couple of things. First is water break. Second is I wanted to just share with you guys, because I won't be able to go through all of this today, but I did mention before that I do want to show you the A+ sample essay. It is in my How to Write a Killer Essay study guide. So if you've already purchased it, then it's right there for you. You know that we keep updating it with like new essays and stuff as well. But it's basically here, chapter 10 in this 16 section. So we've actually recently updated it with the 2020, 2019 and 2017 past English exam. So it's all A+ essays for you. Plus, if you wanted to, know that we have sample A+ essays for single article, 2 articles, 3 articles with images as well. So yeah, I'm just gonna give you a sneak peek. Okay, that's it. All right. So yeah, head on over there if you wanted to see the full result. Can I send you the link? Oh yeah, of course I can. Ooh, laters. I will send you guys the link now. While I send you the link, have a read of the next 2 paragraphs. I think we'll be able to get through 2 of those at the very least. Okay. Here you go. By the way, guys, this is awesome. If you wanted to continue the chat afterwards, then leave some comments, once this live stream is up. Okay. Let's keep going. All right, so we've talked a little bit about the photograph, which, by the way, I could just keep going with the analysis. We could keep finding more and more and more. But I think when it gets to a certain point where you kind of have to figure out what's valuable for you to talk about and what's not so much. Once you get good enough at analyzing argument, you should have in excess of language techniques to choose from. So then it's just a matter of which ones are going to give me that, advantage, which one's going to help me stand out from the rest of the people. So yeah, have a think about that. Let's move on. So it's time our council started to defend the farmers rather than the tourists. Ooh, that's juicy. Our council. Okay. Our council. So what I'm thinking about here is, he's saying our council. but he's using inclusive language, our. So there's this sense of ownership, of this is our space, this is our community. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna highlight that. I haven't really been highlighting in a, I haven't been color coordinating, unfortunately. I'm just kind of choosing random colors, but yeah, that should be okay. Defend farmers rather than the tourists. Okay, so now he's creating a dichotomy between farmers and tourists. I love the word dichotomy, by the way. I learned it when I was in year 12 and I've used it ever since. Essentially, it just means kind of like two oppositions, farmers versus tourists. The way that I remember the word is die as a prefix usually means like divide. Yeah, like literally divide, or division, like to split things in half. So he's creating this dichotomy of us versus them. And the way that I'd build upon this, like I'm just thinking ahead with an essay, is I'd probably connect it to this girl. Like there's this sense of us and them. Them is a threat, them is an outsider, them is all the things that we mentioned before, but us, he hasn't said too much about us yet, so maybe he's going to build upon that here. So the farmers are the backbone of this community. Okay, he is building upon it. So this paragraph kind of seems like it's more about the farmers and building the us. Farmers are the backbone of this community. Many of us, having lived in this area for generations, this has been our space forever. And look at these intruders coming in now. How rude. While we understand the importance of our town of visitors supporting business, indeed have welcomed the holidaymakers, when they, there's that dichotomy again, start causing havoc, another word that kind of adds to that sense of like, them being a threat, them being intruders. While searching for their wayward drones, it's time to say enough. Cool. I'm going to admit, I actually don't know what wayward means. So if this happens, and this stuff happens all the time, what I do is actually look it up in the dictionary and understand it, because I know that if I don't know what this word means, it probably means that majority of other people also don't know what this word means. But if it gives me, it therefore gives me a potential advantage, because if I'm able to analyze it, there's something that not as many people would have analyzed. So it means difficult to control or predict because of willful or perverse behavior. Okay, I like that. So what I do, I'm just like literally copying from the dictionary, but I'd say, I'd just write down difficult to control. Willful and perverse behavior. I think I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just going to say difficult to control. So in my own interpretation, I guess it's unpredictable. And so if I build upon this idea more, I guess there's this sense of there's a loss of control. And this builds upon that idea that farmers are losing control of their plot of land, their privacy. So yeah, you can kind of see like this is kind of like how my mind works. And I just kind of like try to sync everything back up to the contention and just to what he's saying, essentially. Damn, that's actually quite a bit that we kind of went through in that little bit there. Okay. I'm just gonna have a look at your comments now. Cool. Dichotomy simplifies a debate for an audience to make it seem a neutral position is not possible, and consequently one must pick a side. Thank you, Zuba. That's actually really helpful. Awesome. Okay. Just looking at any other comments you guys have written. Okay. Let's move on to the next paragraph. So, don't get me wrong, I'm not just another technophobe. Oh, quickly, I just want to go back. While we understand the importance of our town of visitors supporting businesses, I think there's this acknowledging the opposition, acknowledging that there are benefits in having visitors. So he's not completely like tunnel visioned. He is being more fair, or at least that's how he's portraying himself. And that makes me, at least, more inclined to side with him, because I'm seeing that he's kind of a little bit more rational. Like, he's not just saying, oh, screw them. Like, you know, it's not just his way or the highway. Like, there is some give or take. So that kind of makes him more credible in a sense. The reason why I thought about that just then is because this next part, don't get me wrong, I'm not just another technophobe, builds to this idea as well. So I'm just going to say acknowledging the opposition. But you can finesse that by like replacing the word opposition with something else. That's fine. So I'm not just another technophobe. Cool. So he's kind of like anticipating people's reactions to what he's saying. And he's going, no, I'm not. Like, it's all good. Not just like another person complaining about technology. As a young farmer, I just find that hilarious. Okay, so as a young farmer, he's young, guys, okay? He's not some old person. I guess it's like that stereotype of old people don't fare well with technology, which I don't think is true, by the way. I think everyone's getting on board with technology these days. But he's kind of like reaffirming, like, I'm young, guys. I'm a cool guy. I'm not anti-tech at all. Yeah, he literally says it. I'm introducing new tech. I'm on board with that. You know, we're using drones. Drones. So now he's kind of talking about the benefits of drones, the time and the money that it saves. There's absolutely no way we want to ban drones. So I think this is a really interesting way he's structuring his argument. You know, he's kind of started off going, drones, they're so bad for you. Then he's shown this picture, which is kind of like, drones, they suck. And then in this paragraph here, he differentiates farmers from outsiders. And then he kind of takes a turn and goes, no, I love drones, don't get me wrong. So I think there's this analysis there for you. And I'd actually love for you guys to write down in the comments section, like, what do you think is going on? Why is he structuring his argument like this? I'm going to take a quick water break while you guys answer my question. And I'm just going to put this up, which is, I'm doing a YouTube live. All right, let's look at your questions or answers. Okay, so Zach says there's a shift in tone. Oh, absolutely. Love it. Great pickup. In fact, I love it so much, I'm going to write it down. Okay. Shift in tone. Often, here's a tip for you guys, a shift in tone usually means that there's a new argument coming. They usually tie in together pretty well. So if you see a shift in tone, you can probably kind of hedge the bet that it's a new argument. This is particularly helpful if it's like an article that's really hard. Usually for SACS, teachers will choose articles from newspapers, and you know, we all know that newspaper articles are way tougher than VCAA articles. If you don't know, it's true. So yeah, it's just like something that you can kind of use just to help you along if you're not really getting something. Okay. Isabel says it may be the start of rebuttal. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. You guys are doing really great. Zach says, will these annotations be provided for our personal use at the end? I'm only actually uploading the annotations into my study guide, so they will be accessible there. Otherwise, it's just accessed through the live stream video, which will be posted up afterwards as well. Okay. By stating he's young and uses drones, showcases his argument isn't but based on personal bias towards young people or drones, but is a legitimate problem. Okay, that's from Ruby. I think with your analysis, I'm not 100% sure what you're saying. I think it could be a little bit clearer. Give that a go. Just try rewriting it. See if you can make it even more concise. Okay. So we've managed to annotate the background information. We've managed to annotate paragraph 1, photograph, paragraph 2, and paragraph 3. We still have left one more paragraph and this next page with the image. So I unfortunately have to wrap it up there, but if you want me to do this again, this live streaming, please let me know. I can absolutely organize another one and finish this off with you guys. It's been really great. Thank you so much for having me and allowing me to take you through your English journey. In my Udi as well. I think that's the thing I love about live streams. You can just kind of wear what you want, do what you want. I wanted to say thank you to all the people on TikTok who are watching. I'll be with you guys in a moment. But yeah, I think what to do from here. 1, analyze the rest of the article, because if we do this again, I want you to come to me with your analyses, and then we can collate everything together and just do a mega analysis that's freaking amazing. 2 is, don't forget that I've got my How to Write a Killer Language Analysis study guide, which I dropped in the comments below, but it's also in the description box. So if you wanted to head over there, you'll access the annotations to this article, the full annotations, and you'll also get the completed A+ essay. Now, because I haven't actually done all the annotations, it won't be uploaded straight away, but trust me, it will be. I won't let you guys down like that. What else do I need to say? All right. I think that's actually all I need to say. Make sure that you're on my mailing list as well. That's how a lot of you guys know that I'm doing this live. There is a subscribe option for you to my mailing list in my description box. And otherwise, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to continue my live stream on TikTok just for another couple of minutes. And yeah, I will see you guys soon. I actually need to create a thumbnail, so I'm just going to do this. You guys can see the behind the scenes of me creating a thumbnail, if that's something you're interested in. Hey! Can't see the screen, but whatever. You can see the screen on the canvas. Alright guys, thank you so much. Yumi Udi. Bye. I'll talk to you soon.